mostly women, but some men, I think. There are some. My name is Nimrod Ackerman, and I'm a Yadid LaChinuch CEO and one of the 3 founders back in 2006. Just one moment, please. Okay. It's great to meet you. I'm very proud of the fact that in spite of the pandemic, the history will show that you as a risk group have managed to find a way to bring your skills to the front and to help students and teachers, not only with better English, but also with a message of solidarity and for being a role model of volunteerism. I can only be sorry for not having the option to meet someone like you when I was a student, but I'm happy to enable it for others these days. I find it very important that during your efforts with the kids, you're finding the way to enjoy and to feel meaningful. Many thanks, I must say, to Shlomit, Yael, Marsha, Diana, Yadid LaChinuch, amazing coordinators in GOME, and all of you, the volunteers, for your time and your truly desire that this project will be successful and will inspire others. Thanks, and I will stay for a few minutes more, if it's okay with you. Back to you, Marsha.
No, yeah. Okay, and you tell me when you want to continue. So first of all, we didn't ask anyone in the meantime, up until today, we haven't asked anyone to send us feedback, but without even asking for it, people have been sending feedback to their different coordinators, to Yael, to Shlomit, and to me about the program and how well it's going. So you can see that the ones in Hebrew, for instance, I just finished a Zoom session with 2 wonderful girls from for the first time in the school in Ness Ziona. I enjoyed it very much, and it looks like we're going to continue. I'll tell you what happens with that. How are you? I just started teaching the Start Talking Project English on Zoom. It was very nice. The students participated and thanked me. Actually, ironically, I thought I wouldn't be able to link to and to be able to teach on Zoom and connect to the idea of teaching on Zoom, but it worked fine. I hope that it will continue this way. Have a good weekend. And the final one on this page in Hebrew says, at least for me, speaking to a 13-year-old girl that I don't know, that's a stranger, it was a bit difficult because of the difference in generational gap. I don't really connect to this age group, especially not to girls. I try to get them to talk, but it was only partially successful. We decided to meet again next week. I thought we would talk about the elections in America and how they'll affect Israel. She liked my idea. We'll see how it continues. And then the one in English, all of you can read. I think it's every child is different, but I can see there's not always possible to stick to the cards. Just to remind you, every time I meet you, I say the cards are there only to be a helpful idea, and they're not a script. I always say that about 5 times every time we meet. So you just have to go with the flow, completely agree with that, and let them speak. It was a very positive experience so far. Yael, would you like to continue?
I can read the WhatsApp feedback I've got today. I make Zoom conversations with 2 6th grade students from Savionim Elementary School in Ness Ziona. They are weekly these are weekly one-on-one meetings. Both students have enriched their vocabulary and their conversation skills. For example, one student was swallowing in quotation words, while now she talks slower and is understood better. The kids are on time and excited to have these meetings. Both of them and me enjoyed time we spent together. It's from Chaim Caspi. He couldn't join us today.
Okay.
We have another.
Would you like me to continue to translate
Yeah.
the second page? I'll do it very quickly. It went wonderfully today. I'm looking at the top one. It went wonderfully today. The young people are just wonderful, and it was a pleasure to work with them. During the conversation, I wrote on the board new vocabulary with translation, and they use those expressions and words in the conversation. The conversation went fluently, and it was very nice. Over here, I'm happy to tell you that it was a lot of fun, especially because of Shuva, which is Shuva was a student. Because of her Shuva's reaction, the teacher said that she has a lot of difficulty in general. It ended, the lesson ended, oh, it's him, Shuval is a boy. In his Hebrew names you never know. The lesson ended with him saying to me, "What, it's over? It was only a half an hour?" I made it actually longer. I made it 20 minutes. And he said, "You should know, I had a lot of fun with you. I'm telling you this because I was very happy to hear, because that he was disappointed that it's only one time a week." And the final one in English, yesterday I had two students, Goya and Miguel, in 9th grade. We connected really well. I spoke to their English teacher about Miguel to understand his level of English, and maybe I'll get more information and help how to progress with him. The rest was excellent. Both sides really enjoyed it, and just had my two students. Wow, it was great. They are so eager to learn. Long may it last. Yael, is there anything else you would like to say before we continue?
No, that we can see that there are different, the same situation, volunteer and student, but the reactions are quite different. Most of them are positive, but we are here to get feedback from all of you. So I think the next step will be to work in groups. You may continue with the group work.
We hear from the different groups, and then if we have a few minutes, open it up to an open discussion if we have time. I just would like to announce something very exciting. We have been in contact with the Ministry of Education and the Chief Inspector of English in Israel. We actually met with the Chief Inspector of Israel and all the district inspectors of English in Israel. And as a result of that conversation and presentation, there is a program in Israel that's called, in English, it would probably be called Excellence in the Periphery. And what it is, it's a program for lower income, lower socioeconomic level students, disadvantaged area students, to have an opportunity through various projects to get to the highest level and to be exposed to the highest level, not only in English, but in science and in other aspects of their studies. And they contacted us and wanted us to be involved in the program. And so the ministry, together with Yadid Lechinuch, is beginning a program together to reach the weakest populations in Israel and to help those students who are very good students and don't have the opportunity often to get the highest level of learning. And what we're going to do is we're starting in Ofakim. it's going to be a project in Ofakim, but the idea is to, with time, to spread it out to both to our Jewish sector and to the Arab Bedouin sector, and to help children all over the country. That's the idea. We're starting with a pilot in Ofakim. And what we need 5 volunteers, 5 of you who are willing to take on 1 more student. So if you're willing to do that, just to take on 1 more student, if you could either stay at the end or write your name in the chat at the bottom, just click on the chat and write your name. We'll be in touch with you. At this point, we need 5 volunteers who are willing to take 1 more student so we can start this pilot in Ofakim. And if it goes well, we'd like to extend it and reach as many people as we can. So that's very important. So group number 2, who will be presenting what you talked about in group number 2? Yes, please. Who's from group number 2? Just unmute yourself. Shlomi, can you look at the chat and write down the people who are willing to work in Ofakim? Brian already wrote his name, and see if there's any others. Thank you, Brian. Who is going to be presenting?
I can't remember which group I was in. Davida, were we 2?
I don't know what group I was in either.
I don't know what group
Okay, so
we
you
are.
didn't notice what groups you were in? Let me see if I still see the groups. Okay, group number 2, Corinne, Davida, and Ruth.
Okay, Davida was going to feed back.
Okay, we were 2 that already teaching and 2 that didn't start the program. So I think it was very important, like you said, that we talk together. We decided that if you say 15-minute session, it's not enough at all. Half an hour is the right time.
Depends on the kid.
Yeah.
The patients, and they have more studies to do and more Zooms, so half an hour is good, I think. And what else? This is a very, very important project. I think that the children like it, and it improves their talking in English, and I say it's very important. What we want to tell you that the cards are good for 2 sessions, not more. The kids tell us about themselves, and that's it. So we have to find subjects to speak about.
Yeah.
And I found subjects, yes, but it was very, it would be easier if you had some program that we can go along with. Not that I have to find subjects for them. Okay, I do it. I go to the Google, I found Kita Vav, what they teaching, and I made a session for myself. Okay, I found even games to do with them, games in English that are for Kita Vav, for the 6th grade. Okay, I do it myself, but it was easier if there is a program that you like the cards, but you know, to give us.
Okay, so the cards are meant to begin the talking. We don't expect any of our volunteers to play games with them. The whole point is to speak, unless they're speaking, unless they're speaking games. Well, I will send you a very nice. I'll send it through the Rakazim. A very nice. If you need other things to. Speaking game ideas, I'll send you a whole site full of different speaking games ideas. So if the cards are not enough and you want to do other things, you'll have other options as well. I'll send you all kind of other material that you can use as well.
Thank you. It will be helpful. Thank you.
Okay. So
Is it-
the next group, group 3, is David, Lindy, and Rachel, who will be speaking.
I think Rachel.
Yeah.
Rachel.
Okay, I unmuted myself. So there were 3 of us. We were lucky to have Lindy from London, and I think it's a good opportunity for the pupils. But I'm the only one who started. The other 2 haven't started yet, and I've only started this week. For some technical reasons, I only got the names and started. And I told them that one pupil is very weak, and I could barely talk to her, use the conversation for 15 to 20 minutes. The other one was much better. I used mainly the questions of the card, but I'm thinking about how to help the weaker pupil next time. Maybe I'll write some words. I don't know. I'll have to think about it. So we mostly got to know each other, and that's it. I had very good experience.
Okay, thank you. Again, some people are not muted and there's background noise, so I'm going to mute again. Brian, did you want to say something? So unmute yourself, Brian, please.
Okay.
You're in room 4 anyway, so it was your turn.
Oh, it was my turn anyway.
Yes, it was.
Okay. I just wondered about, of course, we want to drag from the child, get them to speak as much as possible. But I also wondered whether or how helpful it would be to read to them something that's good for their age, so they can hear accent and the fluidity of language as it's spoken in English.
Okay,
in other words, not just to speak them, to get them to speak, but for them to hear, to absorb English as it should be, as it usefully should be taught or spoken, accent free, or I suppose
okay,
London accent.
That is a possibility, although the focus of this program is speaking, not reading and listening. I would say you can do that once in a while, but only after you've spent most of your time dealing with speaking. You can intertwine that here and there, but that's not the focus of this program.
Okay.
If we have a program where we actually deal with reading and reading comprehension and other things like that, then certainly that would be the focus. But you can intertwine that. Maybe you can find a short paragraph about the thing you're talking about and read it together and show it on the screen and read it, and you read it and things, and then talk about it. That could, it could be a catalyst for a conversation. That's an option as well.
Yes.
Okay. That's a way you can do that. Room 5.
Oh, could I just tell you some of the things we came up with? That was in group 4, because we haven't discussed that.
Okay, yes.
Because I think some of them are quite important. Yes. So first of all, we talked about the cards, and we decided we don't show the cards. There's no point in them. We don't want them reading whilst we're trying to speaking. It's much better that they concentrate on our faces, our expressions. They know we're encouraging them, or we got a funny smile on our face. That means we haven't got it quite right. So the cards are useful. I've done now 3 sessions with some kids. I find them very, very good to give me a basis, but the conversation goes on to, we've spoken gay rights, we've spoken American elections. And if I tell you, these are 11-year-olds I've got. So
very nice.
I'm impressed very much with those. The other thing that was really good, which we thought about, was we need to ask open questions. We have this thing, sometimes if the language isn't good enough, they've understood the question and they'll answer yes or no. And I think it's much better to start some of this with, tell me about. tell me about your family, tell me about your hobbies, and then they can use language they want to use, what they know how to talk about. And the other, and I am building a relationship. I can feel it when I see them next time round. I keep notes. I've got a folder. I know their names. I know their pets. I know their brothers and sisters. I can ask about them from one week to the next, which is very good. So I can see, hello, we're old friends, and we can joke about maybe one day seeing each other, things like that. Yeah, I think that's
excellent. Thank you so much. That was very helpful. That's the whole reason for this meeting, is to learn from each of you, and there's so much to gain from everyone. Group 5 was Lorna, Tamar, Chava, and Chava. Who would like to speak?
I see Tamar hasn't unmuted herself yet, so I'll start off. Okay. I think we all said that we've been getting some very positive feedback from the kids that we're working with, which are a variety of ages, and that they're waiting for us to come into the lesson, and that's been very encouraging. Tamara is doing hers not by Zoom, but by her phone, which has been working WhatsApp, which I thought was a great idea for those times when you might not be home, and instead of canceling a lesson, being able to carry it out. Chava and I have found the Zoom useful, and that not so much for using the cards, because I agree that doesn't really add anything to have the card on the screen, but because you can do other things like using the whiteboard or linking up to other things that we're talking about, saying, oh, like you mean this, or showing pictures.
Excellent.
And
great ideas. Great.
I felt that, because I was thinking about your family, and so I had a picture ready of myself with my grandchildren. So I could say, and so I'm exposing myself a little bit too, and it keeps the conversation going. I also agree that we need a lot more content, but if they just take you to all different places, and you have to know how to go with them to wherever the subject goes. I think that the biggest problem that I've had at least is how to correct them without making them feel self-conscious or interrupting the flow of language, but at the same time not letting them repeat the same errors over and over. And I was saying,
one way that we talked about, just about that, Lorna, just so everybody hears, is that when they make a mistake, when you answer them, to use it correctly,
right,
and immediately. Right. Answer them using whatever mistake they made in the correct, using it correctly immediately, and they sort of they're exposed to that, and most of the time they get it that way, and then they don't feel like you're bringing them down and correcting them, or like they're in the classroom.
Well, that's what we said, so I'm glad that that's the right direction, and I would say that was it.
Okay, I'd like to end as soon as close to the time as possible, but I think it's very important to let everybody have a chance. Diana, would you like to? You're in group 7. Is there something you'd like to add? You're muted.
Okay. Yes. Okay. Yes, I was in a group with Rivki, who is a coordinator, and Lisa, who hasn't started teaching yet. So basically, I'm the only one who has started teaching. I've been teaching for a couple of weeks now. I teach high school students. First of all, I think it's important that we have, wait a minute. The best positive experience was that I got a message on WhatsApp after the lesson, one of the lessons, and she said, I enjoyed it very much. Thank you so much, in English. And that was lovely. It's just a lovely, it's
very nice
feeling that they appreciate what we're doing. Some of the challenges. Okay. I think it's very important that we get a little more information about the students that we get, rather than just the name and what grade they're in. Because, for example, I was told that all my students are higher level students, and one of them doesn't even know the months of the year. She's in high school. She's in 12th grade.
I must mention something about that, Diana, because this program is spent in the elementary school. It should be higher level students. In junior high school or high school, it's usually average students or higher level students. You should not have students that don't know English, because they can't converse. So you shouldn't have those kind of students.
Okay, it's not exactly that they don't know it, but their English is not, they're not very fluent in English. I mean, it's very difficult. Half the time she says to me in Hebrew, how do I say? Okay, that was not what I expected. And again, so I say again that we should get a little bit more information about the students before we get them. If they are mid-level, or if they're high level, or what their situation is in English, perhaps a little bit higher, perhaps a little bit more information about them in general. That's what I think would be more useful. Okay. Okay, and that I
just wanted to say it will try to be done in the next 5 minutes, but there's 2 more groups, and if you can stay for 5 minutes to respect each group having the option to present, that would be, thank you very much. Thank you. Okay, Diana?
Yeah, I just wanted to say that I agree with what everyone said, that the cards aren't useful. It's very, you talk about what the students want to talk about more than anything else. If they have nothing to talk about, then we have to find subjects, and it really is very individual. Every student is different. So
really the cards are useful for who they're useful for, and not useful for those who want to do something else.
Exactly. But that's
good giving that as an
other
option.
sources. But that's good to give other sources, so we have something to work with if necessary. That's all.
I'm going to send you the speaking games. I'll send them to the coordinators today, and hopefully you'll have them by tomorrow. Okay, thank you. Group 8 is Eldad and Shai.
Okay, this is Shai speaking. We were 2 of us, and Eldad has not yet started any sessions. I've been going I'm in the 4th week now. I have 2 students, both they're 11-year-olds. Both have a previous experience. The girl has family in Los Angeles, and she's visited there, so she's been exposed to English-speaking environment. And the boy has a father who took his family when he worked in the Philippines, and he also was exposed to an English-speaking environment.
Could you, if you don't mind, because we're over time, say what tips you have or what challenges you want to share with us?
Okay. Tips, we already got this one about writing on the shared screen vocabulary. I think that's a great idea, and it will be very useful. My problem is that the girl that I speak with is very talkative, and it's difficult to get a word in edgewise, even if I want to help her.
But it's fine, actually, because you want her to talk, so it's fine. If you can't get a word in edgewise, that's good. That we want to happen with all the kids. Thank you very much, Shai. Room 9 is Hannah and Ross, and that's our last room. So Hannah and Ross. Shlomit, also Shai wrote for Fakim. Hannah and Ross, I think they may have left. Oh, Hannah, it's your room, you're here. Can you unmute yourself? Unmute yourself, Hannah.
Me too in this group. I don't know. I don't see.
Bila, because you left and came back. Okay,
I left because there was a very loud noise near me, and I had to change to the telephone.
Okay.
People are working around our buildings.
Okay. So either Hannah or Bila or Ross, who would like to speak? Hannah, would you like to speak, or Bila?
Hello?
Yes,
Hello?
speak. Hannah, speak. Or Bila.
Okay.
I'm having a problem. I can't really, everybody's frozen. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. Can you hear us?
Yes,
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, so Bila will speak. Bila will speak.
Okay.
I can't
Okay. Okay,
hear
I'll speak.
anyone.
We've met, the three of us. There are two from London. There's a very loud noise here. The two of them are from London. Rose hasn't started at all yet. And Hannah and me have started, have 3 meetings. It went well, but we talked about the problems. So sometimes I have a problem with one child that is very fluent, but the 2 last meetings he didn't have the camera and I couldn't see him. But we talked about also other things that we learned from our experience. It was a good experience in general.
If any time, it's very important, thank you very much. If any of you have any issues, if they don't turn on the cameras, if their English is too low to converse with them, if there's any kind of negative attitude at all by the student, please tell your coordinators immediately.
Of course. Yeah,
so
of course.
that they'll make sure that the English teacher will deal with what needs to be dealt with. That's number one.
Course.
And one final thing, some of you are from Miskeret Batya in that area and have not started yet and have not been contacted about starting. Your coordinator has a family issue right now, a serious family issue right now, and hasn't been able to do that. So Yadid Lechinuch will be in contact with you in the next few days, and we'll find solutions so that you can start your volunteering so you can already start. Your coordinator just is not available right now to do that. So the Yadid Lechinuch will take care of that in the next few days.
Please send me a message. Those who haven't started yet, please send a message and I'll do something about it.
Also, Yael, if you don't mind, maybe be in touch with their coordinator and get the whole list because not everybody's here. Okay? Okay, so thank you everyone for being here. Your comments were extraordinarily important. Your feedback was extraordinarily important. And here, even tomorrow, I'm already going to be sending you these speaking games that you can use. We'll take them into consideration with the topics and all kinds of materials that we can send you beyond the cards and in planning the cards in the future. It's been very, very helpful. And I understand that your conversations in the breakout rooms were interesting and helpful for you too. And we'd like to thank you again. And Nimrod, maybe you can have the last word.
No, I would like to say something.
And then Nimrod will have the last word.
Okay. Just to inform that, can you hear me, Marsha?
Yes.
Okay. Just we have to, I think our next meeting will be with the school representative. We should hear what their experience, their impression, they hear the students, and we would like to hear them.
Maybe another month or so.
Yeah, about a month, we'll have a session with them. And of course, we will invite the volunteers to meet, or some of the volunteers will let you know about this meeting. So thank you, all of you.
And now Nimrod.
Nothing much to add, just a familiar phrase from the English language, Kol hakavod.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.
So, אני חייבת ללכת.
Thank you very much. Thank you.